Welcome to my new video. Today, we're diving into Stravinsky's ballet, The Firebird, specifically my favorite recording and pressing, exploring its nuances and uncovering insights you won't want to miss. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just curious, this video has something for everyone, so sit back, relax, and let's get started. First, please subscribe for more content like this, and a reminder to join us for our weekly live stream, Everything Classical Music, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific. Everyone is welcome. It's a fun and informative 90 minutes. Watching live is half the fun, but if you miss it, catch the rerun on the channel available immediately after the live stream. Thank you. Today, The Firebird by Igor Stravinsky. This video is about the complete ballet written in 1910, not one of the later Firebird suites he published in 1911, 1919, and 1945. The story about the beginnings of this work is quite famous. The impresario Sergei Diaghilev wanted to commission a ballet for his Parisian-based Ballet Russe. He first asked the composer Anatoly Lyudov, who was a notoriously slow worker. Prior to the premiere, Diaghilev dropped by Lyudov's studio to see how he was getting on. "Not to worry," said Lyudov, "today I purchased some manuscript paper." A frantic Diaghilev asked his friend, the great Rimsky-Korsakov, to write the score. He was too busy, so he suggested his student Igor Stravinsky. The 27-year-old dispatched an hour's music, one of the great masterpieces of the 20th century, in less than 6 months. It was premiered by the Ballet Russe in 1910 at the Palais Garnier in Paris, conducted by noted composer Gabriel Pianet. The huge success of the ballet led to further commissions by Diaghilev, including Petrushka and Le Sacre du Printemps. The Firebird is based on Russian folklore, the mythological elements of the magical firebird and the evil sorcerer Koschei the Immortal. The narrative follows Prince Ivan, who, while hunting in an enchanted forest, captures the Firebird. In exchange for her freedom, the Firebird gives Ivan a magical feather that he can use to summon her in times of need. Ivan later encounters Koschei, who has turned several princes into stone. With the help of the Firebird, Ivan ultimately defeats Koschei, breaking the curse and freeing the captives. And of course, the story concludes with the joyful reunion of Ivan and his beloved princess. Musically, The Firebird is a remarkable synthesis of Russian folk traditions and innovative orchestration. Stravinsky, who was relatively unknown at the time, infused the score with vibrant colors, dynamic rhythms, and intricate harmonies that reflected both the fantastical elements of the story and the influence of his Russian heritage. The orchestration of The Firebird is particularly noteworthy for its use of vivid tonal palettes and a wide range of instrumental textures, creating an atmosphere that is both enchanting and menacing. It's also fiendishly difficult to play. More on that in a moment. So why is this seminal Mercury stereo recording from 1960 my first choice from an amazing array of quality performances and recordings? Well, the London Symphony recorded their magnificent Firebird in Watford Town Hall in North London. As usual, Bob Fine was the engineer and his wife Wilma Kozak Fine the producer. Be sure to check out my video about Mercury Records. I'll link it below. Discogs says, the orchestra was arranged in normal concert placement on the stage. 3 exceptionally sensitive omnidirectional microphones were hung in a plane just outside the proscenium arch so as to catch the full bloom of orchestral sound along with the natural resonance of the auditorium. Each of these microphones conveyed one separate channel of sound to the 3-channel recording machines housed in Mercury's famous mobile sound truck, which had been transported to England for this recording. It's evident from the opening page why this performance and recording is on the Audiophilia Dream List. But why is it number 5 on my best of the best list? These are the records I turn to again and again for musical enjoyment and sonic brilliance, and for reviewing high-end equipment for audiophilia. Let's talk pressings. You gotta have a great pressing if you want to have a dreamless experience. There are 4 from which to choose, with probably the best pressing promised, scheduled but never delivered. The original Indianapolis pressing runs about $150. There are 1 or 2 knocking about for sale, near mint. If you have one in good condition, count yourself lucky. If you do have one, let us know in the comments. Now to the reissues. Speakers Corner released theirs in 2008 from the original analog tapes. I've not heard it, and it's hard to come by. No information who did the cutting, but I've got a lot of speakers corners that sound absolutely wonderful. Check out my video on the label. I'll link it below. Now to Bernie Grundmann's superb 1997 reissues for classic records. I have the 33 RPM version on 180 gram vinyl. It was also pressed on 200 gram vinyl. The 180 gram runs about $150 on Discogs and is quite plentiful. It's a very fine remastering, and I'll talk about the sound shortly. My friend Scott Wilson has the same remastering, but cut to 45 RPM and on one-sided vinyl. He swears by it. I want one. Sadly, I could not find one for sale. Again, if you have one, count yourself lucky. And finally, a bit of a sad ending. Bernie Grundmann was supposed to do yet another remaster for ORG, Original Recordings Group. His previous ORGs are magnificent, but the record company has ceased operations just before we got the new Firebird. If Bernie's previous ORGs are the measure, then we are missing the finest reissue yet. In the meantime, if you have any of the aforementioned, you are in great shape. So why is this LP so high on my list and is never too far away from the player? Well, that's easy. The music, the performance, and the pressing are a perfect trifecta. Bernie Grundmann's remastering has everything this ultra-exotic score needs. It's both diaphanous and then with immense dynamics. In fact, some of the most controlled fury I've ever heard on an LP. The strings, which are muted much of the time in Stravinsky's spectacular orchestration, have a sheen and a stillness that is so easy on the ear. And then when Casci wakes his demons with offstage trumpet calls, the placement of each trumpet and the solo trumpet left on the stage is absolutely perfect. Seriously, I could pick out sonic highlights on every page of the score. But a couple stand out. Let's talk bass drum. No, not Telak bass drum, which can sound damn effective. This is different. Here is a player that knows how to use his body weight and with the mallet technique to crack the universe. Sure, there is a transient decay, but it's all controlled with the biggest thwack on record. When listening for the first time, watch your levels. You'll notice that many other recordings don't sound as effective. Why? Look at the tiny grace note just before the primary note. Why did Stravinsky put that in? Damned if I know. And the LSO player doesn't give a fig either. Many others play the grace note, and when lifting to rearticulate the primary note, can't get enough power. I'm spoiled by the LSO. But the delicacy doesn't go amiss either. The Firebird herself is nothing but translucence and beauty, and Dorati and the whole team, including Grundmann, capture her fiery essence beautifully. Be sure to check out the Bolshoi Ballet's performance on YouTube. I'll link it below. It'll give listening to the Mercury another dimension. Now to the performance. Simple, I know no better, either interpretation or performance. There are many very fine recordings and performances. Here are a few. But in 1960, the LSO was in transition, hired brilliantly, and had something to prove, and they delivered for Dorati in spades. Antal Dorati's tempos are perfect, and the fast tempos hold no fear for the LSO virtuosos. It's not only brilliantly colorful, it's extremely exciting. And if you're an orchestral player who's played this fiend of a piece, it'll leave you panting and breathless at times. Trombone players especially, listen to the trombone of Dennis Wick. You won't hear the part better. It's truly immense playing. The faint Mercury tonal luster comes to the fore in the famous finale. You know it, the very quiet string tremolandos leading to the famous horn solo, Barry Tuckwell by the way, followed by the mighty ending. Quick story, when I was conducting it once, my 4-year-old was in the audience and she was usually very quiet during shows. This time, and with perfect timing during the very quiet tremolandos, she shouted out, "Here comes the boom!" Lots of laughs. Oh well, she'd heard the piece a million times in our house by age 4. As you probably can tell, I love everything about this masterpiece of a recording. I hope you have a good pressing. If not, definitely try and get one of my suggestions. So that's it. Thanks for joining me today. Stay well. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.